Kate Morrison stood at the observation window of Nexus Prime Station, watching the ships arrive. The view never got old. Vessels from 100 different worlds docked and departed in a careful dance of metal and light. Some were sleek and elegant, others looked like floating cities. Each one represented a species that had reached the stars long before humanity. She was small by human standards, just 5 feet 4 inches tall. Among the aliens who lived and worked on the station, she looked like a child. Most days they treated her like one too. Acrylics officer walked past her, his scales gleaming under the station lights. He was easily 8 feet tall, built like a wall of muscle and bone. He bumped into Kate's shoulder hard enough to make her stumble. He didn't stop. He didn't apologize. He probably didn't even notice her. Kate steadied herself and took a deep breath. 5 years. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Concordance for 5 years, and things hadn't gotten much better. The other species still looked at humans like they were cute pets or amusing curiosities. Earth was classified as a Class 9 Deathworld, one of the most dangerous planets in known space. But that just made the aliens more confused about why humans seemed so ordinary. Her communicator buzzed. It was Ryan Cole, her best friend and fellow pilot. "You coming to the reception tonight?" His message read. Kate sighed. The reception. Right. The station was hosting some kind of cultural festival celebrating 500 cycles of the Concordance. There would be speeches, ceremonies, and probably more subtle insults directed at humanity. She typed back a quick response. "Do I have a choice?" "Commander Palmer says all human personnel need to attend. Diplomatic relations and all that." "Great," Kate muttered to herself. She pocketed her communicator and headed back to her quarters to change into her dress uniform. The reception hall was massive, designed to accommodate species of all sizes. Kate felt even smaller than usual as she entered. Aliens towered over her on all sides. Some had forearms, others had tentacles. A few floated in environmental suits filled with exotic gases. And there, in the corner, was the small group of humans assigned to the station. About 30 people in total huddled together like refugees. Ryan waved her over. He was tall for a human, 6 feet 2, but he still looked small next to most of the aliens. "Ready for another fun evening of being ignored?" he asked with a tired smile. "Can't wait," Kate replied. Commander Greg Palmer stood nearby, his weathered face expressionless. He was 42 years old and had fought in Earth's brutal unification wars before humanity reached the stars. He didn't talk about those days much, but Kate had seen the scars. Palmer caught her eye and gave a slight nod. He knew how hard these events were for the younger crew members. The speeches began. Various ambassadors and officials talked about unity and cooperation and the bright future of the Concordance. Kate tried to pay attention, but her mind wandered. She thought about home, about Earth, about mountains and forests and oceans that could kill you if you weren't careful, about a planet that had shaped humanity into survivors. Then High Magistrate Korvath took the stage. He was a Zelix, a species known for their wealth and love of entertainment. He was shorter than some aliens, but still taller than any human, with smooth blue skin and large eyes that sparkled with amusement. "My friends," he began, his voice smooth and condescending, "we gather tonight to celebrate our great concordance. So many species, so many cultures, all united in peace and prosperity." Kate felt a knot forming in her stomach. Something about his tone set off warning bells. "And of course," Korvath continued, "we must acknowledge our newest members, the humans, from the dangerous world of Earth." He paused, and Kate heard scattered laughter from the crowd. They come from a Class 9 death world, yet they seem so delicate, so small. It makes one wonder how they survived at all. More laughter. Kate's hands clenched into fists at her sides. Ryan put a hand on her shoulder, a silent message to stay calm. "In fact," Korvath said, his smile widening, "I have been curious about human capabilities. We have all heard the stories about Earth's dangers, but surely the humans themselves must be formidable warriors to have survived such a world." "Yes," the hall fell silent. Every eye turned toward the human delegation. "So I propose a demonstration," Korvath announced. "As part of our festival's ancient traditions, we hold exhibition matches in the arena. Combat displays that showcase the warrior spirit of our member species. I would be honored if the humans would participate. I will personally offer a prize of 1 million credits to any human who will face one of our champions in the arena." The silence deepened. Kate could feel the weight of it pressing down on her chest. This wasn't an invitation. It was a trap. If humans refused, they would be labeled as cowards. If they accepted, whoever fought would likely be humiliated or hurt. Either way, humanity lost. Ambassador Lyra Hayes stepped forward from the human group. She was an older woman, her hair gray, her face lined with decades of difficult negotiations. Kate had always respected her. Hayes had worked tirelessly to bring humanity into the Concordance, to earn a place among the stars for Earth. High Magistrate, Hayes said carefully, your offer is generous, but perhaps we should discuss the details in a more private setting. These arena matches can be dangerous and dangerous? Kjorvath laughed. Dear Ambassador, the matches are carefully controlled. No one has died in the arena in over 50 cycles. We simply wish to see what the famed Deathworlders can do, unless of course you believe your people cannot handle it. The crowd murmured. Kate could hear the judgment in their voices. The dismissal, the certainty that humans were weak. Something snapped inside her. Kate stepped forward before she could think better of it. I'll do it. Every head turned toward her. She felt Ryan grab her arm, heard Commander Palmer call her name, but she kept walking forward until she stood beside Ambassador Hayes. Lieutenant Morrison, Hayes whispered urgently. You don't have to. I volunteer, Kate said loudly, projecting her voice across the hall. I'll fight in your arena, High Magistrate. Show you what a human can do. Kjorvath's smile grew even wider. He looked delighted. This was exactly what he wanted. A spectacle, entertainment, excellent, he exclaimed. How brave, how wonderfully brave. You will face Thexelar the Unyielding, champion of the Krillix warrior caste. The match will be held tomorrow evening. I do hope you're prepared, little human. Little human. Kate's jaw tightened, but she kept her face neutral. She bowed slightly, the way humans did at formal events, and stepped back. The reception continued, but Kate barely noticed. She felt numb. What had she just done? Commander Palmer found her in a quiet corner. His expression was unreadable. My office, now, he said quietly. Kate followed him through the station's corridors. Ryan tried to come too, but Palmer waved him off. This was between the commander and his pilot. Palmer's office was small and plain, decorated only with a few photos from Earth. He closed the door and turned to face Kate. Do you know what you've gotten yourself into? He asked. A fight with an alien champion, Kate replied. I know it sounds stupid, but it doesn't sound stupid, Palmer interrupted. It sounds exactly like something a human would do. We don't like being pushed around. We don't like being mocked. He sat down behind his desk and studied her. I'm not going to try to talk you out of this, Morrison. You made your choice in front of the entire diplomatic corps, but I need to know if you understand what you're really doing. I'm standing up for us, Kate said. For all of us. I'm tired of being treated like I don't matter. Good, Palmer said, because that's exactly what this is. You're not just fighting for yourself tomorrow. You're fighting for humanity. He pulled up a holographic display showing information about Thexelar. This is your opponent. 8 feet tall, 400 pounds of muscle and scales. Undefeated in 247 matches over 15 years. He's a professional warrior from a species bred for combat. Kate studied the image. Thexelar looked like a nightmare made flesh. Claws, teeth, armored scales. He could probably break her in half without trying. The arena has rules, Palmer continued. No lethal force allowed. Matches end when one fighter yields or is unable to continue. Medical teams stand by. It's supposed to be safe. He paused. But here's the thing, Morrison. Earth never signed the arena protocols. We weren't part of the concordance when those rules were written. Kate met his eyes. She understood what he was saying without him having to spell it out. The rules didn't apply to her the same way they applied to everyone else. She had more freedom. More options. I need you to remember something, Palmer said, his voice low and serious. You come from a planet that tried to kill your ancestors every single day. They survived because they were smart, adaptable, and absolutely relentless. You have that same DNA, Morrison. Don't try to fight like them. Fight like a human. What does that mean? Kate asked. Palmer's smile was cold. It means you do whatever it takes to win. No honor, no glory. Just survival. That's what we're good at. Kate left the office with her mind racing. She spent the rest of the night in the training rooms working through combat drills. Ryan joined her, helping her practice footwork and timing. He didn't ask if she was sure. He didn't try to convince her to back out. He just helped her prepare. Kate's fist connected with the joint behind Thexelar's knee. It wasn't a powerful blow, not compared to what the Krillex champion could deliver, but it was precise, targeted, the kind of strike that came from understanding anatomy and exploiting weakness. Thexler stumbled. Just slightly, just for a moment. But it was enough. The crowd gasped. In 15 years of arena combat, their champion had never stumbled. Kate was already moving, circling to the side, keeping her distance. She didn't celebrate the hit, didn't pause to acknowledge what she'd done. She simply kept moving, kept looking for the next opening. Thexlar turned to face her, and now there was something different in his eyes. Not anger, confusion. He had expected this to be quick. A few exchanges, maybe a minute of combat, and then victory. Instead, this small human was making him work for it. He attacked again, this time with more force. A series of strikes that would have ended the match if any of them landed. Kate weaved between them, her body moving with practiced efficiency. Duck, sidestep, roll. Every movement was about conservation of energy, about staying alive just a little bit longer. In the stands, Commander Palmer watched with his arms crossed. His face showed nothing, but inside he was counting the seconds, counting the exchanges, watching as Kate did exactly what he knew she would do. She wasn't trying to beat Thexlar in a straight fight. She was hunting him. 3 minutes into the match, Kate landed another strike, this time to Thexlar's ribs in a gap between his armored scales. He grunted, the first sound he'd made since the match began. Kate didn't stop. She pressed forward, forcing him to defend, to react instead of control. The crowd was no longer laughing. They watched in stunned silence as the impossible unfolded before them. The human wasn't losing. She wasn't even struggling. She was fighting with cold, calculated precision. High Magistrate Korvath sat forward in his viewing box. This wasn't what he had planned. This wasn't entertainment. This was something else entirely. Something that made his skin prickle with an emotion he rarely felt. Unease. 5 minutes. Thexlar was breathing harder now. Not exhausted, not yet, but working. Kate's breathing hadn't changed at all. Steady, controlled. Her heart rate was probably barely elevated. That's what evolution on a high-gravity world with thin air did. It made you efficient. It made you last. Thexlar tried a different approach. He stopped attacking and simply advanced, using his size to back Kate toward the arena wall. It was a smart move. Limit her mobility. Force her into a corner where she couldn't dodge. Kate saw the trap. She let him think it was working, backing up step by step. Then when the wall was just a few feet behind her, she changed direction. Instead of retreating, she went forward. Under his guard, past his defenses, close enough that his size became a disadvantage. She struck him 3 times in rapid succession. Throat, solar plexus, knee. All targeting points that would cause pain or dysfunction without permanent damage. Then she was gone, sliding away before he could retaliate. Thexlar coughed, his hand going to his throat. Kate had pulled the strike at the last instant. If she had wanted to, she could have crushed his windpipe. The realization hit him like cold water. This human was holding back. She was capable of killing him, but she was choosing not to. Something shifted in Kate's demeanor. It was subtle, almost invisible, but those who knew combat could see it. Her movements became more fluid. Less thought, more instinct. Her eyes tracked Thexlar with an intensity that wasn't entirely human. Palmer saw it. He had seen it before in soldiers who had survived too many battles. The moment when training fell away and something deeper took over. The part of the human brain that remembered hunting on ancient plains. The persistence predator. The thing that ran down prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. 10 minutes. Thexlar was tired now. Really tired. His movements were slower, his reactions delayed. He had fought hundreds of matches, but none of them had lasted this long. Most species didn't have the endurance for extended combat. They fought in bursts of energy, then retreated to recover. Humans didn't work that way. Humans just kept going. Kate pressed her advantage. Not aggressively, not with wild attacks, but with relentless pressure. She never gave Thexlar a moment to rest, to catch his breath, to think. Every time he tried to create space, she closed it. Every time he tried to mount an offense, she was already moving, already countering. In the alien section of the stands, a xenobiologist named Dr. Serrell watched with growing horror. She had studied Earth's evolutionary history. She knew what humans were, but knowing it academically was different from seeing it in action. By the ancestors, she whispered to her colleague. She's persistence hunting him. right here in the arena. She's treating him like prey. Her colleague, a Vrex military observer named Commander Vec, nodded slowly. His 4 eyes were locked on the arena floor. He had dismissed the reports about human combat capabilities as exaggerations. He was beginning to understand that they had been understatements. 12 minutes. Thexlar was breathing in harsh gasps now. His scales, which had gleamed at the start of the match, were dull with sweat. He tried to land a solid hit, putting everything into a powerful strike. Kate didn't dodge this time. She blocked it, angling her arm so the force slid past her. Then she countered with a precise strike to his already injured knee. Thexlar's leg buckled. He caught himself, but barely. For the first time in his career, he felt something he had never experienced in the arena. Fear. Not fear of death or injury, fear of something more primal. The fear that came from being hunted by something that would never stop, never tire, never give up. The crowd was utterly silent now. 50,000 spectators from dozens of species, and not one of them made a sound. They were all realizing the same thing. They had made a terrible mistake. They had thought humans were weak because they were small. They had forgotten that size and strength weren't the only paths to power. 15 minutes. Thexlar was stumbling now. His attacks were wild, desperate. He wasn't trying to win anymore. He was trying to survive. Trying to end this before he collapsed completely. Kate remained calm. Her breathing was still steady. Her movements were still precise. She looked like she could go on forever. Because she could. That was the gift evolution had given humanity. Not claws or venom or armor. Endurance. The ability to outlast anything. Thexlar made one last desperate attempt. He charged forward with everything he had left, trying to use his superior mass to end the fight. Kate saw it coming. She had known it was coming. When you hunt prey long enough, you learn to predict their behavior. You learn when they'll panic. When they'll make their final stand. She sidestepped the charge. Thexlar's momentum carried him past her. As he stumbled, off balance and exhausted, Kate moved. Her hand shot out in a strike aimed at his throat. A killing blow, the kind of strike humans had perfected over millions of years of hunting. But at the last instant, she pulled it. Her hand stopped an inch from Thexlar's throat. The strike transformed into a touch. Gentle. Controlled. A demonstration. Thexlar froze. He understood what had just happened. She could have killed him. Should have killed him. But she chose not to. He fell to one knee, his chest heaving. Kate stood over him, waiting. The arena protocol said the match ended when one fighter yielded. But she wouldn't claim victory until he gave it to her. Thexlar looked up at her. This tiny human who had just systematically broken him down. He had fought warriors twice his size. He had survived battles that killed dozens. But he had never felt as helpless as he did right now, kneeling before someone who barely reached his chest. "I yield," he said. His voice was quiet, but in the silent arena, everyone heard it. For a moment, nothing happened. The crowd seemed unable to process what they had just witnessed. Then the arena erupted, not in cheers or celebration, in chaos, aliens shouting in their native languages, some in disbelief, some in fear, some in outrage. Kate stepped back from Thexlar and walked toward the exit. She didn't raise her arms in victory. Didn't play to the crowd. She simply left, her face carefully neutral. Behind her, medical teams rushed to Thexlar's side. In the preparation chamber, Kate finally let herself react. Her hands started shaking. The adrenaline that she had kept under control during the fight was catching up with her. She leaned against the wall, breathing deeply. Ryan burst through the door, his face a mixture of relief and shock. He started to say something, then just pulled her into a hug. Kate let him, grateful for the support. "That was incredible," Ryan said. "I've never seen anything like that." "You destroyed him." "I didn't enjoy it," Kate said quietly. Her voice was shaky. "I never enjoy it," Ryan pulled back, understanding in his eyes. He knew Kate's history, knew about the training she had gone through, the things she had done. Combat wasn't glory to her. It was necessity, something she was good at, but that didn't mean she liked it. Commander Palmer arrived a few minutes later. He looked at Kate, assessing her condition. Then he nodded, satisfied. "Good work, Lieutenant," he said. "You did exactly what needed to be done." "Did I prove anything?" Kate asked. "Or did I just make things worse?" Palmer was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You proved that humans aren't weak. Whether that's better or worse, we'll find out soon enough." Outside the preparation chamber, the station was in chaos. Emergency. The Concordance Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 40 species shouted over each other, their translation devices creating a cacophony of overlapping voices. At the center of the storm sat Ambassador Lyra Hayes, flanked by Commander Palmer. They remained calm while the aliens argued around them. The Krillix ambassador was on his feet, his scales flushed dark with anger. "This is unacceptable. The human used forbidden techniques. She fought without honor." A Zilix counselor countered, "The arena has clear rules." Lieutenant Morrison broke none of them. Her victory was legitimate. "Then the rules must be changed," the Krillix responded. "Humans are clearly too dangerous to be allowed unrestricted access to." Hayes stood, her voice cutting through the noise. "Too dangerous? We accepted your challenge. We played by your rules, and now that we won, you want to change everything?" The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to the human ambassador. "Let me be clear," Hayes continued. "Humanity didn't ask for this. High Magistrate Korvath challenged us publicly. He made it about honor and reputation. Lieutenant Morrison accepted because she was tired of being treated like a curiosity, like a pet. She proved that humans deserve respect. If that frightens you, perhaps you should examine why you underestimated us in the first place." The council head, an ancient Velan named Counselor Trath, raised a hand for silence. His species lived for 300 years, and he had seen much in his time. But this was new. This was significant. "Ambassador Hayes," Trath said carefully, "no one disputes the legitimacy of the match. But you must understand our concern. In all our history, we have never encountered a species quite like humans. Your evolutionary path is unique." "Unique how?" Hayes asked. Though she suspected she knew the answer, Trath activated a holographic display. It showed Earth rotating slowly. "Your planet is categorized as Class 9. Only 12 known worlds in the galaxy are more hostile to life. Yet you not only survived, you thrived. You became the dominant species. Do you know how rare that is?" The display changed, showing evolutionary trees. Most sentient species evolved from prey animals. We learned to think in order to hide, to plan escape routes, to cooperate for safety. Some, like the Krillix, evolved from ambush predators. They learned to think in order to plan attacks. The image shifted again, now showing humanity's evolutionary path. Humans evolved from persistence hunters. You learned to think while chasing prey across vast distances. Your intelligence developed alongside your endurance. You don't fight in bursts like other species. You don't need to. You simply outlast everything. Palmer leaned forward. "Is there a question in there, counselor? Or are you just explaining what we already know about ourselves?" "The question," Trath said, "is what we do with this knowledge. Humanity is not like other species. You are not natural allies or natural enemies. You are something else. Something we must learn to understand." A Vrex military observer stood. Commander Vec was large even for his species, his 4 arms folded across his chest. "I witnessed the match. I have studied the footage. The human female demonstrated capabilities that exceed our projections. If one human can do this, what could many humans do?" "Are you threatening us, Commander?" Hayes asked coolly. "I am assessing a potential threat," Veek replied, "as is my duty." Palmer stood now, his face hard. "Then let me save you some time. Yes, there are many humans. Yes, we all share the same evolutionary advantages. And yes, we know how to use them. But here's what you need to understand. We don't want war. We want peace. We want to be part of this concordance. But we will not be pushed around. We will not be dismissed, and we will not apologize for being good at survival." The chamber erupted again. Some species nodded in agreement. Others looked terrified. A few looked calculating, already planning how to use this situation to their advantage. While the council argued, Kate sat in her quarters, trying to process everything that had happened. The station's network was flooded with footage of her match. Every news outlet in the concordance was analyzing it. Some called her a hero. Others called her a threat. Most seemed unsure what to call her. Ryan knocked on her door. "Hey, you okay?" Kate shrugged. "I don't know. I feel like I started something I can't control." "You did what you had to do," Ryan said, sitting beside her. "Korvath put you in an impossible position." "You made the best choice you could, did I?" Kate asked. "Look at what's happening. The council is in chaos. Half the species in the concordance are terrified of us now. The other half want to study us like lab animals. Better than being ignored, Ryan said. At least now they know we matter. Kate's communicator buzzed. It was a message from Thexlar. She stared at it for a moment, surprised. Then she opened it. Lieutenant Morrison, I request a private meeting. There are things I must understand. Things only you can explain. Please. Kate showed the message to Ryan. He raised his eyebrows. Are you going to meet him? I think I have to, Kate said. He deserves answers. They met in a neutral location, a quiet observation deck on the far side of the station. Thexlar was already there when Kate arrived, standing at the window looking out at the stars. He turned when he heard her approach. Kate kept a respectful distance. Even defeated Thexlar was intimidating, but she could see something different in his eyes now. Not anger or pride, something closer to understanding. Thank you for coming, Thexlar said. His voice was quieter than she remembered from the arena. What did you want to talk about? Kate asked. Thexlar was silent for a moment. Then he said, I have fought for 15 years. I have faced every kind of warrior in the Concordance. I thought I understood combat. I thought I understood strength. He looked at her. You taught me I was wrong. I'm sorry, Kate said. I didn't mean to. Don't apologize, Thexlar interrupted. You gave me the most valuable lesson of my life. You showed me that strength comes in many forms. That size and power are not the only paths to victory. He turned back to the window. I need to understand. How did humans become this way? What shaped you into such efficient predators? Kate moved to stand beside him at the window. It wasn't a choice. Earth is a hard planet, dangerous, beautiful, but deadly. Our ancestors had to adapt or die, so they adapted. They learned to run long distances, to throw rocks with deadly accuracy, to work together in groups, to never give up. But it's more than that, she continued. Earth had other predators. Big ones, fast ones. Ones with claws and teeth and venom. Humans didn't have any of that. We had our brains and our endurance, and somehow that was enough. We outlasted everything. We hunted the hunters until they were gone. Thexlar absorbed this. On my world, the strong survive. The fastest, the largest, the most fierce. But on Earth, it was the most persistent who survived. Exactly, Kate said. We didn't have to be the best at any one thing. We just had to be good enough at everything, and we had to never stop. That's what I felt in the arena, Thexlar said quietly. The certainty that you would never stop. That no matter what I did, you would just keep coming. It was like fighting a force of nature. Kate didn't know what to say to that. It was true in a way. When she fought, something took over. Something ancient and relentless. She didn't like admitting it, but it was part of who she was. What happens now? Thexlar asked. The Council is terrified. They see humans as a threat. I don't know, Kate admitted. I hope they'll understand that we're not their enemies. We just want to be treated with respect. Respect and fear are closely related, Thexlar observed. Sometimes they are the same thing. Before Kate could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed. Her communicator buzzed with an urgent message from Commander Palmer. All human personnel report to the command center immediately. This is not a drill. Kate looked at Thexlar. I have to go, he nodded. Be careful, Lieutenant. I fear your demonstration has attracted unwanted attention. Kate ran through the station corridors, her heart pounding. Other humans were converging on the command center from all directions. When she arrived, she found Palmer standing at the main display, his face grim. Ryan was already there. What's going on? Palmer activated the display. It showed a transmission from deep space. The symbol of the Vrex Dominion filled the screen. We received this 10 minutes ago, Palmer said. It's a formal challenge. The Vrex don't believe the reports about human combat capabilities. They think Kate's victory was a fluke or a trick. The transmission played. A Vrex warlord appeared, his forearms crossed, his expression showing nothing but contempt. Humanity. We have seen your arena spectacle. We are not impressed. The Concordance may be fooled by tricks and deception, but the Vrex Dominion knows weakness when we see it. We issue formal challenge under the ancient protocols. Send your warriors to our homeworld. Let them face our finest soldiers. Prove your worth or submit to Vrex oversight. The transmission ended. The command center was silent. Can they do this? Kate asked. Just issue a challenge like that? Ambassador Hayes, who had just arrived, nodded grimly. The ancient protocols are one of the Concordance's oldest laws. Any species can challenge another to prove their worth. It's supposed to prevent wars by resolving disputes through controlled combat. but it's rarely used anymore. Why now? Ryan asked. Why challenge us? The ship carrying the human team arrived at Vrex Prime after 2 weeks of travel. Kate spent most of the journey studying everything she could about Vrex culture, military doctrine, and combat techniques. The others did the same. They knew what was at stake. Vrex Prime was exactly what Kate expected. The planet looked like a fortress. Cities were built like military installations, with walls and defenses visible even from orbit. This was a world that had been at war for most of its history. A world that valued strength above all else. As their shuttle descended, Kate looked at her team. Danny was checking equipment, his fingers moving with practiced efficiency. Lisa was perfectly still, her eyes closed, breathing slowly. Jake was stretching, keeping his muscles loose. Ryan caught Kate's eye and gave her a slight nod. They were ready. Commander Palmer sat across from them. He hadn't said much during the trip, but Kate knew he was worried. This was different from the arena match. This was bigger, more dangerous. If they failed here, Earth's position in the Concordance would be compromised. Possibly forever. The shuttle landed in a massive facility. When the doors opened, they were greeted by a wall of Vrex soldiers. Each one stood over 7 feet tall, their 4 arms holding weapons, their expressions showing nothing but contempt. A Vrex commander stepped forward. His armor was more elaborate than the others, covered in symbols that Kate guessed represented military achievements. Humans, he said, his voice dripping with disdain. I am Warlord Krith, commander of the Crimson Guard. You stand on Vrex Prime, the beating heart of the greatest military power in the Concordance. You claim to be warriors worthy of respect. We shall see. Kate stepped forward. She was barely 5 feet tall, and Krith towered over her. But she met his eyes without flinching. We're here for the trials, she said simply. Let's get started. Kreth's expression showed something that might have been amusement. Or disgust. It was hard to tell. So eager to prove yourselves. So eager to fail. He gestured to his soldiers. The trials will begin tomorrow. Tonight you will be shown to your quarters. Rest. You will need it. The human team was led to a building on the edge of the facility. It was plain but functional. As soon as they were alone, Palmer called them together. Listen carefully, he said. The Vrex have been the Concordance's primary military force for 300 years. They built their entire culture around warfare. They're disciplined, experienced, and completely convinced of their superiority. So what's our advantage? Danny asked. They fight like they've been trained, Palmer said. Following doctrine, using established tactics. It's made them very good at what they do. But it also makes them predictable. Humans don't fight like that. We adapt, we improvise. We do whatever works, Lisa spoke up, her voice quiet but firm. They're expecting us to try to match them strength for strength. To fight their way. Exactly, Kate said. So we don't, we fight like humans. We use every advantage. We bend every rule that can be bent. And we don't stop until we win. The next morning they were led to the first trial site. A massive field stretched before them, dotted with enormous stone blocks. Each block probably weighed several tons. Kreth and his Crimson Guard stood waiting. The first trial, Kreth announced, tests strength and coordination. You must move these blocks from one end of the field to the other. All of them. While under fire from training weapons, the team that completes the task fastest wins. The Crimson Guard went first. 5 Vrex warriors, each one a mountain of muscle and discipline. They worked together flawlessly, their 4 arms giving them obvious advantages. They lifted the blocks with raw strength, moving in coordinated formations. Training weapons fired at them from hidden positions, but they ignored the impacts, protected by their armor and natural toughness. They completed the trial in 12 minutes. The watching Vrex soldiers cheered. Kreth looked at the humans with something like pity. How could these small, weak creatures possibly match that performance? Your turn, Kreth said. The human team approached the field. Kate could see the problem immediately. They couldn't lift the blocks the way the Vrex had. They didn't have the strength. But strength wasn't the only solution. Danny, Kate said quietly, what do you see? Danny was already examining the blocks in the field. His engineer's mind was working through possibilities. Levers, rollers, we don't lift them. We roll them. And I can make tools from the equipment they gave us. How long? Kate asked. 2 minutes to prep. Then we move fast. The Vrex watched in confusion as Danny quickly fashioned improvised levers and rollers from pieces of their own gear. The other humans helped, following his instructions. This wasn't how the trial was supposed to work. This wasn't proper warrior behavior. Then they started moving blocks. Using physics instead of muscle, using tools instead of raw strength. Lisa covered them from the training fire, her incredible accuracy letting her predict and dodge. Jake and Ryan worked the levers. Kate coordinated, calling out timing and targets. They finished in 9 minutes. The Vrex crowd was silent. This wasn't possible. The humans were smaller, weaker. They shouldn't have been able to complete the trial at all, let alone faster than the Crimson Guard. Kreth's expression was dark. You cheated. You used tools. That is not warrior behavior. You said to move the blocks, Kate replied calmly. You didn't say how. We moved them. Faster than your team. That's what matters. Commander Palmer, watching from the sidelines, allowed himself a small smile. This was exactly what humans did best. They found solutions that others never considered. They refused to accept the limitations that seemed obvious to everyone else. The second trial was tactics, a mock battle in a simulated urban environment. The Vrex explained the objective. Capture 3 control points while defending against enemy attacks. Standard military exercise, the Crimson Guard went first again. Their performance was impressive. They moved in tight formations, secured positions with overwhelming force, and advanced methodically. Textbook military operations. They completed the objective in 18 minutes with minimal simulated casualties. Then the humans entered the simulation. The Vrex observers expected something similar. Maybe slower, maybe less coordinated, but following the same basic approach. They were wrong. The human team split up immediately. Instead of securing positions, they moved constantly. Instead of holding ground, they attacked from unexpected angles. Lisa found a vantage point that the simulation designers probably thought was inaccessible and started picking off targets with impossible accuracy. Danny rigged traps using materials from the environment. Jake and Ryan used hit-and-run tactics, never staying in one place long enough to be pinned down. Kate coordinated it all, adapting the plan in real time as the simulation responded. This wasn't military doctrine. This was guerrilla warfare. This was how humans had fought for thousands of years when they were outnumbered and outgunned. They completed the objective in 12 minutes with 0 casualties. The Vrex commanders were in heated discussion. This wasn't how warfare was supposed to work. There were rules, protocols, proper methods. The humans were ignoring all of them. This is unacceptable, Kreth said, his voice tight with anger. Your tactics are dishonorable. You fight without dignity. We fight to win, Kate replied. Honor doesn't stop you from losing. Dignity doesn't protect you from defeat. We do what works. Then you are not warriors, Kreth spat. You are savages. Palmer stepped forward. His voice was cold and hard. Call us what you want. We came from a planet that tried to kill us every single day. We survived because we learned that there are no rules in survival, only alive and dead. If that makes us savages, fine, but we're savages who are beating you at your own trials. The third trial was endurance, a 50-kilometer march through hostile terrain while carrying full equipment, followed immediately by a combat scenario. The Vrex designed it to be brutal. They expected it to break the humans. The Crimson Guard completed the march in 4 hours. They were exhausted at the end, their breathing heavy, their movements slow, but they finished the combat scenario, though barely. The human team started their march. Kate set the pace, something sustainable. They didn't rush. They didn't try to match the Vrex's initial speed. They just kept moving, steady and relentless. 3 hours in, the Vrex observers were confused. The humans were still moving at the same pace. Not slowing, not struggling, just walking, talking quietly among themselves, conserving energy. They completed the march in 3 hours and 40 minutes. And when they reached the end, they weren't exhausted. They were ready. The combat scenario that had pushed the Crimson Guard to their limits was almost easy for the human team. Kreth watched in stunned silence. This wasn't possible. Endurance was supposed to be the one area where larger species had an advantage. More muscle mass, more energy reserves. The humans were smaller, lighter. They should have collapsed, but they hadn't. They looked like they could go another 50 kilometers. After the trial ended, Kreth approached Kate. His expression was complex. Anger, yes, but also something else, confusion, maybe even a hint of fear. How? He asked simply. How can you do this? You are so small, so weak. By every measure, we should be superior. Kate thought about how to explain. Then she said, Your species evolved on a rich world. Strong gravity, yes, but abundant resources. You could... The grand arena of Rex Prime was built to hold 500,000 spectators. Today, every seat was filled. Vrex from across the Dominion had come to watch their warlord put the upstart human in her place. The fight was being broadcast throughout the Concordance. Billions would witness what happened here. Kate stood in the preparation chamber, breathing slowly. She had done this before. The arena on Nexus Prime seemed like a lifetime ago, though it had only been weeks. But this was different. No rules, no restrictions. This was combat in its purest form. Commander Palmer entered the chamber. He looked at Kate for a long moment, then nodded. Remember what I told you back on Nexus Prime, he said. Fight like a human. Do whatever it takes. Kreth is expecting a warrior. Show him a survivor. Kate met his eyes. I know what I have to do. The doors opened. Light flooded in, along with the roar of the crowd. Kate walked into the arena, and the noise immediately shifted. 500,000 Vrex voices turning from cheers to confused murmurs. The human was so small. How could she possibly challenge their warlord? Across the arena, Kreth emerged from the opposite entrance. He was magnificent in his battle armor, every piece decorated with honors from centuries of warfare. His forearms held no weapons. This would be hand-to-hand combat. Pure skill against skill. Kate wore simple combat clothes. No armor, no weapons. Just her and the skills evolution had given her species. The two fighters approached the center of the arena. Kreth towered over Kate, easily twice her height and 4 times her weight. He looked down at her with an expression that mixed contempt with genuine curiosity. Last chance to withdraw, human, he said. I do not wish to harm you, but I will not hold back. This is real combat. You could die here. Kate's response was quiet but clear. So could you. Kreth's eyes narrowed. Then he stepped back, taking his fighting stance. The signal sounded. The match began. Kreth attacked first, as Kate knew he would. A powerful strike meant to end the fight quickly. Kate wasn't there when it landed. She had already moved, reading his body language, predicting the attack before it came. The crowd gasped. That speed wasn't normal. That level of prediction shouldn't be possible. Kreth tried again. And again. Each time Kate evaded, not with wasted movement, not with desperate scrambling, with efficient, precise shifts that took her exactly where she needed to be. She was reading him like a book. In the stands, Commander Vec leaned forward. He was the Vrex military observer who had watched Kate's first match. He recognized what he was seeing. Pattern recognition. Humans had evolved it to track prey across vast distances, to predict animal behavior, to anticipate danger. Kate was using millions of years of evolutionary refinement to map Kreth's every move. 2 minutes in, Kate landed her first strike. A precise blow to Kreth's knee joint. He stumbled, more from surprise than pain. She had found a weak point already. How Kate didn't celebrate. She circled, her eyes never leaving Kreth. She was learning. Every exchange gave her more information. Every movement revealed more about his style, his tendencies, his weaknesses. Kreth changed tactics. Instead of single strikes, he launched combinations, using all 4 arms, creating overlapping attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. But Kate flowed between them like water, her body moving with a fluidity that seemed almost inhuman. Because it was inhuman, it was the product of a species that had survived by being adaptable, by moving efficiently, by never wasting energy. Every motion Kate made had a purpose. Every step took her exactly where she needed to be. 5 minutes. Kreth was breathing harder now. Not exhausted, but working. Kate's breathing hadn't changed. Still steady, still controlled. The crowd was starting to understand what they were witnessing. Kate struck again. This time at Kreth's ribs at a gap in his armor. Then his shoulder joint. Then his knee again. Each strike was precise, targeted, designed to cause pain and reduce function. She wasn't trying to beat him in one blow. She was systematically breaking him down. Kreth realized what was happening. She was hunting him. Right here in the arena, in front of 500,000 of his people, this tiny human was treating him like prey. The thought should have been absurd. It was terrifying. 10 minutes. Something changed in Kate. Ryan, watching from the sidelines, saw it happen. The shift from technique to instinct. The moment when training fell away and something deeper took over. Kate's movements became more fluid. Her strikes came faster. Her eyes tracked Kreth with an intensity that made him want to step back. This wasn't a soldier fighting anymore. This was a predator. The persistence hunter had emerged. The thing that had run down prey across African plains for millions of years. The apex predator that Earth's evolution had created. And it had locked onto its target. Kreth tried to create distance. To give himself time to recover, to think. Kate didn't let him. Every time he retreated, she advanced. Every time he tried to reset, she pressed forward. Relentless. Constant. Wearing him down. 15 minutes. Kreth was slowing. His strikes were less precise. His defenses had gaps. He had fought thousands of battles, but never one like this. Never against an opponent who simply wouldn't stop. Who couldn't be outlasted. Who just kept coming. The crowd was silent now. The confident cheers had died away, replaced by horrified fascination. Their warlord, their champion, was losing, and not to superior strength or better technique. He was losing to endurance, to relentlessness, to a species that evolution had designed to never give up. Kate struck at Kreth's throat. He blocked it, but barely. She immediately attacked his exposed side. He twisted away off balance. She swept his leg and he fell to one knee. For a moment they were eye to eye. Kreth saw something in Kate's expression that made his blood run cold. Not anger. Not hatred. Just focus. Pure unwavering focus. The look of a predator that had run its prey to exhaustion and was moving in for the kill. Kreth pushed himself up and charged. It was desperation. A last attempt to use his size and strength to end this. Kate saw it coming. She had known it was coming. When you hunt prey long enough, you learn when they'll panic. When they'll make their final stand. She moved inside his guard. Too close for his longer reach to matter. And she struck. A precise blow to his throat that could have crushed his windpipe. Could have killed him. But at the last instant, she pulled it. The strike stopped a hair's breadth from his throat. Controlled. Precise. A demonstration of exactly how deadly she could be. Commander Palmer's voice cut through the silence. Kate, stop. Kate stepped back. The predator in her eyes faded, replaced by the tired young woman who had just fought for 17 minutes without pause. She looked at Kreth, waiting. Kreth remained on his knees, his hand going to his throat. He understood what had happened. She could have killed him, should have killed him, by the standards of this fight, but she had chosen mercy. He looked up at her, this small human who had just defeated him. And for the first time in his long life, Warlord Kreth felt something he had never experienced before. Not in battle, not in war. He felt afraid. Not of death. Afraid of what she represented. Of what humanity was. I yield, he said. His voice was quiet, but in the silent arena everyone heard it. The arena remained silent for a long moment. Then chaos erupted. Not cheers or jeers, but confusion, fear, urgent discussions. The unthinkable had happened. The impossible had become real. Kate walked toward the exit, her legs suddenly shaky as the adrenaline faded. Ryan met her at the entrance, supporting her. She didn't realize she was shaking until he held her. It's over, he said quietly. You did it. It's over. But as Kate looked back at the arena, at the hundreds of thousands of Rex faces staring at her with newfound fear and respect, she wondered if it was really over, or if it was just beginning. In the medical bay, Kreth sat while doctors examined him. Physically, he was fine. Bruised, exhausted, but nothing serious. Mentally, he was struggling with what had happened. Commander Vec entered the bay. The military observer had watched both of Kate's major fights now. He understood what others were still trying to process. Can you explain it? Vec asked. What did she do? How did she defeat you? Kreth was quiet for a long time. Then he said, She didn't fight me like a warrior. She hunted me like prey. Every movement, every strike, every choice was about wearing me down, making me expend energy, pushing me toward exhaustion. And I couldn't stop it because that's what her species does. That's what they evolved to do. Vec nodded slowly. Persistence hunting. We studied Earth's history after the first match. Humans are the only known species to systematically hunt their planet's megafauna to extinction. They didn't overpower them. They ran them to death. She could have killed me, Kreth said quietly. At the end. She had the opening. The skill. But she chose not to. Why? Because humans understand mercy, Vec said. They're capable of incredible violence, but they're also capable of restraint. That's what makes them truly dangerous. They can choose when to show mercy and when not to, and you never know which one you'll get until it's too late. News of the fight spread across the Concordance at light speed. Video footage was analyzed frame by frame. Experts from every species weighed in. The consensus was clear and terrifying. Humanity was not what they had thought. Not weak, not insignificant, not safe. Emergency sessions were called in government centers across the galaxy. 3 months later, Kate stood at the observation window of Nexus Prime Station once again. The view was the same as always. Ships arriving and departing, the endless dance of commerce and diplomacy. But everything else had changed. A Krillix officer walked past her in the corridor. He stepped aside to let her pass first. He nodded respectfully. It was a small thing, but it meant everything. Humanity was no longer invisible, no longer dismissed. They mattered. Kate's communicator buzzed. It was Commander Palmer. Meeting in 10 minutes. Conference room 3. Kate made her way through the station. She noticed other changes too. Human personnel were no longer clustered in one small section. They worked throughout the station now, integrated into various departments. Some aliens still gave humans a wide berth, treating them with wary caution. Others sought them out, wanting to work with the species that had shocked the galaxy. The conference room was already full when she arrived. Palmer was there, along with Ambassador Hayes, Ryan and the rest of the team that had gone to Virex Prime, and several representatives from other species, including Thexler. The Krillix champion had become an unexpected ally. After his defeat in the arena, he had spent weeks studying human history and culture. Now he served as an informal ambassador, helping other species understand humanity's place in the Concordance. "Thank you all for coming," Ambassador Hayes began. "We're here to discuss the formation of the Concordance Rapid Response Force. The Council has formally approved the initiative, with humanity taking the lead role." She activated a display showing organizational charts and mission parameters. "This will be a joint force. Humans will provide the core combat capabilities, but will work alongside personnel from other species. The goal is to respond to threats that regular Concordance forces cannot handle." "What kind of threats?" Danny asked. "Pirate strongholds and hostile environments, rescue operations on Deathworlds, situations requiring extended operations without resupply. Basically anything that requires the kind of endurance and adaptability humans specialize in," Palmer explained. Thexlar spoke up. "The Krillix warrior caste has volunteered to work with this force. We wish to learn from humans, to understand your methods, and to prove that we can adapt, just as you have adapted." Kate felt a surge of respect for the Krillix. It took courage to admit you had been wrong, to seek to learn from those you once dismissed. "There's one more thing," Hayes said. "Kate, you've been offered a promotion." "Captain Morrison, you'll be the commanding officer of the Response Force's first operational team." Kate sat back, surprised. "I'm only 24. There must be more experienced—" "You proved yourself twice," Palmer interrupted. "Once in the arena, once on Vrex Prime. The galaxy knows your name. They respect what you accomplished. You're the right person for this." Kate looked around the room, at Ryan, who nodded encouragingly, at her team, who had fought beside her, at Thexler, who had learned the hardest lesson but had emerged stronger for it. "All right," she said. "I accept." The meeting continued, discussing logistics and training schedules. But Kate's mind wandered. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, from being dismissed and overlooked to commanding a force that would shape humanity's role in the galaxy. After the meeting, Kate found herself alone in the observation deck again. The stars stretched out before her, infinite and beautiful, each one potentially home to species humanity would meet, work with, maybe fight alongside. Ryan joined her, as he often did. They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the ships come and go. "Do you ever think about how it started?" Ryan asked. "With Korvath's challenge? How different things might be if you hadn't stepped forward that night." Kate nodded. "All the time. I was so angry that night, so tired of being dismissed. I just wanted to prove a point." "You proved it," Ryan said. "Maybe too well. Now everyone knows what humans can do. Are you okay with that?" Kate was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. I wanted respect. I got fear instead, or maybe they're the same thing. But I think we can build something better. Show them that humans are more than just survivors, more than just predators." "What are we then?" Ryan asked. Kate thought about it. "We're the species that learn to be kind in a cruel world. that learned to cooperate on a planet that rewarded competition, that learned to show mercy despite being shaped by violence. That's what makes us special, not our ability to fight, our ability to choose not to. A message appeared on the station's main displays, a news broadcast from the Concordance. Kate and Ryan watched as the announcer discussed recent developments. In unprecedented news, the Concordance Council has formally recognized Earth as a primary military partner. Humanity's unique evolutionary advantages, previously misunderstood, are now seen as valuable assets for the entire Concordance. Captain Kate Morrison, who gained recognition through her arena victories, will lead the new Rapid Response Force. The broadcast showed footage from Kate's matches, the arena on Nexus Prime, the trials on Vrex Prime, the fight with Kreth. Kate watched herself on the screen, seeing what the galaxy saw. A small human fighting opponents twice her size, never stopping, never giving up. They wanted to see a Deathworlder girl battle, Ryan said quietly, echoing the title that had spread across the galaxy. They saw a species remember why they feared Earth. Not just feared, Kate corrected. Respected. That's what we need to build on now. Show them that Earth's children can be allies, protectors, friends. Over the following weeks, the response force took shape. Humans from Earth arrived, carefully selected for their skills and temperament. They were joined by volunteers from other species. Krillix warriors who wanted to learn new tactics. Zelix engineers who admired human adaptability. Even some Vrex soldiers recommended by Kreth himself. Kate threw herself into training the new force. It was challenging work, teaching different species to work together, but she found it rewarding. Watching aliens and humans learn from each other. Watching fear transform into understanding. Thexlar became her second in command. It was an unusual pairing, but it worked. He brought discipline and traditional military knowledge. She brought adaptability and human ingenuity. Together, they created something new. One day, during a training exercise, a young Krillix soldier approached Kate. He was nervous, barely able to meet her eyes. Captain Morrison, he said, I wanted to ask, what is it like? Coming from a death world? Kate smiled. Earth is beautiful. Dangerous, yes, but beautiful. The mountains, the oceans, the forests, every environment trying to kill you in its own way, but also full of life. Full of challenges that made us strong. Do you miss it? The young soldier asked. Every day, Kate admitted. But this is where I need to be right now. Building bridges between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. Showing everyone that we can work together. The Response Force's first real mission came 3 months after its formation. A research station on a Class 8 death world had lost contact. Regular rescue forces couldn't survive the environment long enough to conduct a proper search. The Response Force was called in. Kate led a mixed team of humans and aliens to the planet's surface. The environment was hostile, as expected. Extreme temperatures, toxic atmosphere, aggressive wildlife. Exactly the kind of place where human evolution gave them an edge. But what impressed Kate most wasn't how the humans performed. It was watching the alien team members push beyond what they thought possible, seeing them adapt, overcome, learn that they were more capable than they believed. They found the research team alive, sheltered in an underground cave system. The rescue was successful, and when they returned to Nexus Prime, the alien team members carried themselves differently, with more confidence, more pride. That night, Kate received a message from Earth. Her parents wanted to talk. She hadn't spoken to them much since everything began. There had been so much happening, so much to process. Her mother's face appeared on the screen, smiling. Kate, we've been watching the news. We're so proud of you. Are you? Kate asked. I've become this symbol of human violence, of what makes us dangerous. Her father joined the call. You're not a symbol of violence. You're a symbol of survival, of perseverance, of everything that makes humanity strong. And more importantly, you showed them mercy. You showed them that we can choose to be kind even when we're capable of being dangerous. Kate felt tears in her eyes. I just wanted to be respected. I didn't mean to change everything. Sometimes one person can change the world, her mother said gently. You changed the galaxy's view of humanity. That's not a small thing. And you're using that change to build something good, to bring species together. We couldn't be prouder. After the call ended, Kate sat in silence. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, the anger that had driven her to accept Korvath's challenge, the fear during her first arena match, the determination on Vrex Prime, the responsibility she now carried. A year after that first arena match, the Concordance Council held a formal ceremony. They were establishing new protocols for military cooperation. Recognizing humanity's contributions, Kate was invited to attend as the representative of the response force. She stood on the stage before thousands of representatives from hundreds of species. Ambassador Hayes introduced her, listing her